Well, it looks like the marriage between the EFF and the DA will continue. This despite pre-election declarations that the relationship had actually reached its expiry date. According to EFF leader Julius Malema, the two parties are discussing power-sharing deals. ENCA Samkelo Maseko was at a media briefing held by the EFF leader. He joins us now. Sam, so what's changed the EFF's mind about the DA?
The divorce papers have not yet been signed. They've basically been taken and put in the safe, and discussions are now ensuing between the Democratic Alliance on the possibility of the economic freedom fighters taking the mayorship of the capital city, Tshwane, away from the DA's Stevens Mokhalapa, and an EFF leader, in the Tshwane caucus would then be sworn in as the mayor of the city of Tshwane. But that is subsequent to the Democratic Alliance agreeing to back the EFF's mayoral candidate in Tshwane, and that would subsequently mean the Democratic Alliance would get the shares of the spoils when it comes to MMC positions in the city of Tshwane, and the EFF taking the mayorship, basically saying the EFF will have half of the MMCs, the Democratic Alliance will have another half of the MMCs, and the ANC will remain in the opposition benches. But Julius Malema is saying if they do not reach an agreement with the Democratic Alliance, which has the first choice depending on what they agree on, he will then move on to the African National Congress in Tshwane, led by Dr. Kgoshi Mahepa, whom he is reluctant on working with, saying that Kgoshi Mahepa doesn't even know the organization he's leading in Tshwane. But the interesting fact, they want to keep Herman Mashaba of the Democratic Alliance as the mayor of the city of Johannesburg. Very interesting.
Yeah, that is very interesting. We're going to unpack that a bit more in a moment. Let's listen to what Julius Malema had to say.
We're already talking to the DA. We're sharing power in Joburg. We're sharing power in Tshwane. So how are we going to do it? Let's do it in a manner that is not going to be disruptive. If the DA refuses, then these other options will come in. But so far we're talking and we don't see any hostilities about possibility of power sharing. We'll have a mayor in Tshwane. The DA will have MMCs in Tshwane if they agree. They will have a mayor in Joburg. We will have MMCs in Joburg. I'm reluctant to remove the mayor of Joburg. You know why? Those ANC people hate Mashaba, and I'm very happy. Every time they speak, that Mashaba is traumatizing them. So anyone that traumatizes the ANC is my hero. So the Mashaba is a big problem for the ANC here. So why remove a person who's a big problem for the ANC? We support Mashaba, and we think he must remain. We don't know about this new chap of DA. I think even himself, he knew very well that he's a caretaker. Yeah. There's going to be elections, and every election comes with changes. So there's no hostility, there's no motion of no confidence, there are no fights, there are talks about how do we share power since we are from elections.
He supports Herman Mashaba. What's the strategy behind this?
It's not yet clear what's the strategy, because there have been many talks within the Democratic Alliance internally that Herman Mashaba, the executive mayor of Johannesburg, is seemingly more lenient to the EFF and not really obeying to the politics of the Democratic Alliance. In some instance, Julius Malema even tweeting that Herman Mashaba is not interested in politics. The man is just interested in doing his work in the city of Johannesburg. So it may seem as if they are cooperating well with one another in the city of Johannesburg. You'd find that security guards were insourced in the city of Johannesburg. So Herman Mashaba is abiding by many of the demands that the Economic Freedom Fighters is putting on his doorstep. For instance, there was an issue with the mayoral budget, the city budget in the city of Johannesburg. The EFF didn't endorse it. Herman Mashaba went back to the drawing board, engaged with the Economic Freedom Fighters in the city of Johannesburg caucus, and then they reached an agreement. So there is some sort of a relationship that is going on in the city of Johannesburg, which Julius Malema, the CIC of the Economic Freedom Fighters, is very happy about. But the only issue with the Democratic Alliance for the EFF was Nelson Mandela Bay Metro, and it was the city of Tshwane, mainly with Ethel Trollip in Nelson Mandela Bay, and Solim Simanga in the city of Tshwane now. So the EFF basically wants to take over Tshwane, run it themselves, and give the Democratic Alliance MMCs within that particular city caucus. But it all comes after both the Democratic Alliance and the Economic Freedom Fighters failed to have the Johannesburg government, the provincial government, as a hung province, basically meaning there would be no outright winner in Gauteng, which basically means that even the ANC just scraped a win in Gauteng, getting about 50.8%, which was just a win to secure Makura that premiership in the province. So the AFF failing in their ultimate goal, which they wanted the province of Gauteng, and the Democratic Alliance having a dismal showing at the polls within this province, as they had their sights very high in hanging the province and installing Solim Simanga, who many people say was discredited in the city of Tshwane. And the Democratic Alliance, even in its own FedEx, they are split and divided on that particular issue of Solim Simanga, whom is basically rumored now to wanting to become the caucus leader of the Democratic Alliance in their caucus in the legislature.
Yeah, that's politics for you. Let's talk about what Malema said about his own party, shape up or ship out.
He's basically saying that those who are lazy, those who do not hit the ground running for the Economic Freedom Fighters, they will be shipped out of the party. Those who absconded in this election campaign of the Economic Freedom Fighters, the councillors who failed to show up and campaign for the party, the councillors who failed to meet their obligations of buying bakkies, councillors buying bakkies for the Economic Freedom Fighters so that they can campaign, they will be shipped out of the party, despite them paying tithings to the Economic Freedom Fighters, which is a monthly subscription that you get as a councillor, which is deducted from your salary and sent to the Economic Freedom Fighters to do their work. On top of that, you have to buy a bakkie for the organization.
And you call it tithings. I love it. All right, thanks so much for that. Appreciate it. Samkelo Maseko.